What if I told you that the secret to a happier, more productive workplace isn't in another team-building workshop, a shiny new tool, or even a bigger paycheck? What if the real game changer lies in a set of timeless principles, a practical philosophy that most people overlook entirely? Sounds bold, right? But think about it. Every workplace conflict, every missed opportunity, every ounce of unnecessary stress stems from how we think, how we act, and how we interact. In this video, we're diving headfirst into a fresh perspective, a philosophy that isn't just theoretical fluff. It's actionable, relatable, and proven to make a difference. Whether you're a team leader, a colleague, or just someone trying to survive the daily grind, this could completely shift how you approach your workday. Stick around, because what you'll learn here might not only make your job better, it could make you better. Number 1. The 10-minute truth bomb rule. Let's start with this. Most workplace problems aren't about the work itself. They're about what's not being said. Think about it. How many times have you sat through a meeting or stared at an email thread, knowing there's an elephant in the room no one's brave enough to acknowledge? It's frustrating, isn't it? That simmering silence where everyone pretends everything is fine, while tension bubbles just below the surface. Now imagine if we flipped that dynamic completely on its head. Introducing the 10-minute truth bomb rule. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Truth bombs, at work, that's a recipe for disaster. Trust me, I hear you, but stay with me. This isn't about throwing insults or venting frustrations unchecked. This is about carving out 10 focused minutes each day where your team drops their guards and speaks openly. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just honest truths about what's working, what's not, and what's driving everyone nuts. It's structured honesty, not chaos. And yes, it might feel awkward at first, but that's the point. Growth is always uncomfortable. You've been there, haven't you? You're in a meeting, someone proposes an idea that you know won't work, but you stay quiet. Why? Because calling it out might make you that person, the one who's too critical or doesn't play nice. But the idea moves forward, and sure enough, it flops. Then everyone silently agrees to pretend it never happened. We've all been part of this weird, passive workplace dance where politeness trumps progress. The 10-minute truth bomb rule cuts through that nonsense. It says, let's stop wasting time tiptoeing around each other and start addressing issues head-on. Here's how it works. Every day, or at least once a week, your team sets aside 10 minutes for raw, unfiltered communication. Maybe someone says, I feel overwhelmed by the constant changes to this project timeline, or I think we're overcomplicating this process. It's not about assigning blame. It's about airing truths that would otherwise stay buried. And here's the twist. Everyone gets the chance to speak, but they also have to listen. No interruptions, no defensiveness, just listening. It's like an emotional spring cleaning for your team, and trust me, the results are refreshing. Let me give you an example. A friend of mine tried this at her office after their team morale hit an all-time low. On the first day, someone nervously blurted out, I think we spend more time in meetings than actually doing our work. There was a moment of silence, then laughter, because everyone secretly agreed. Over time, these sessions became a space for her team to identify bottlenecks, clear up misunderstandings, and even share appreciation when things went well. What started as a risky experiment turned into the foundation of a stronger, more efficient team. Here's the thing. This rule isn't just about fixing workflow issues. It's about creating a culture where people feel heard and valued, and that's powerful. When you know you can speak your mind without fear of retaliation or judgment, it's like a weight lifts off your shoulders. You reclaim your voice, your confidence, and yes, your dignity. That's what the 10-minute truth bomb rule is all about. Cutting through the workplace noise to find clarity and connection. So, What's stopping you? It might feel risky, but the biggest risks often bring the greatest rewards. By embracing the 10-minute truth bomb rule, you're not just improving how your team works, you're fostering a space where honesty thrives, respect deepens, and trust becomes the norm. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are worth it. Give it a shot and watch the transformation unfold. Number 2, the No Email Monday Revolution. Let me start with this. Emails are the junk food of workplace communication. Sure, they're quick, they're easy, and they feel productive in the moment. But before you know it, you're knee-deep in a 100-message thread about something that could have been settled in a 2-minute conversation. And here's the kicker. How many times have you left an email exchange feeling more confused than when you started? Exactly. That's why I'm here to pitch you something radical, something that might make you gasp at first. The No Email Monday Revolution. Now, I know what you're thinking. No emails on a Monday? Are you insane? That's when everything piles up. But hear me out. What if, just for one day, we ditched the endless typing and replied to each other like actual humans? Face to face, over the phone, even a quick chat in Slack. Anything but the cold, lifeless void of email. It's not about abandoning communication altogether. It's about improving how we communicate. And yes, it's as liberating as it sounds. We've all been there, haven't we? You open your inbox first thing Monday morning, and it's like Pandora's box of doom. Unread emails, CCs you didn't ask for, and 5 people asking for the same status update. By the time you clear it all, half your day's gone, and you haven't even started the real work. Sound familiar? It's exhausting. And the worst part, half those emails didn't need to exist in the first place. This revolution is about reclaiming your Mondays and your sanity. So, how does it work? Simple. On Mondays, no one in the team sends or replies to internal emails. Urgent matter. Walk over to the person's desk. Need input. Pick up the phone or schedule a quick Zoom call. The idea is to spend less time writing and reading emails and more time having meaningful, productive conversations. It's not just about efficiency, it's about connection. Emails are transactional, but real-time communication is transformational. Let me share a story. A friend of mine introduced No Email Mondays at her office after she noticed her team spending more time in their inboxes than on actual projects. At first, there was resistance. One guy even joked that it felt like she was trying to ban coffee. But by the second week, something magical happened. People started talking to each other. Problems that used to take 20 back-and-forth emails were solved in 2-minute conversations. Misunderstandings dropped, and get this, productivity increased. By cutting out the email noise, her team found more focus and energy for the work that mattered. And here's the real beauty of it. No Email Mondays don't just clear your schedule, they clear your mind. You're not constantly reacting to pings and notifications. You're setting the tone for your week with intention. It's about creating a space where you can actually think, collaborate, and, dare I say it, enjoy your work. This isn't just about ditching emails. It's about reclaiming control over your time, your focus, and your peace of mind. So what do you say? I know it sounds bold, maybe even a little terrifying, but sometimes the most transformative changes come from the simplest shifts. By joining the No Email Monday revolution, you're not just changing how you work, you're changing how you connect, how you create, and how you thrive. Trust me, your inbox will still be there on Tuesday, but your Mondays, they'll never be the same. Number 3, reverse power hour. Here's a bold truth to start with. Most managers have no idea what their teams actually go through every day. Think about it. How often does a manager sit down and truly experience the chaos, frustrations, or even the small wins of their employees' daily work? Rarely, if ever. And that disconnect? It's like trying to steer a ship while blindfolded. So here's a radical fix. Reverse power hour. Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like. An hour where power flips. The boss becomes the learner and the employees become the teachers. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds awkward. Who has the time for this? But hear me out. It's not about staging a performance or playing a game. It's about bridging the gap between leadership and the front lines in a way that's refreshingly honest. Reverse power hour means your manager steps into your shoes, not to micromanage, but to shadow, listen, and learn. It's 1 hour where egos take a back seat and curiosity takes the wheel. We've all been there, haven't we? You're working on a project, juggling a dozen moving parts, and your manager swoops in with a suggestion that's completely unrealistic. You smile politely, but inside you're thinking, if you knew half of what I deal with, you wouldn't even suggest that. It's frustrating, right? The reverse power hour flips that script. It's a chance for leaders to see the challenges, bottlenecks, and hidden victories their teams face daily through first-hand experience. Here's how it works. Once a week, a manager spends an hour shadowing a different team member. No directives, no hovering, no judgment, just observation and genuine questions. For example, imagine your boss sitting beside you as you tackle an impossible client request or try to navigate clunky software. They get to see the hiccups you deal with in real time, and maybe, just maybe, they start rethinking some of those brilliant process changes they keep implementing. It's not just about understanding the work. It's about understanding you. Let me share a real-life story. A friend of mine worked in a call center where the managers never fully grasped how exhausting it was to handle back-to-back calls with angry customers. One day, her manager decided to join her for reverse power hour. He listened in on calls, watched her navigate the system, and even tried answering a few inquiries himself. By the end of the hour, he looked at her and said, "I had no idea it was this intense." That single hour changed everything. Policies became more realistic, workloads were adjusted, and, most importantly, her team felt seen and valued. The beauty of reverse power hour isn't just in the insights it offers leaders, it's in how it makes employees feel. It says, your work matters, your struggles matter, and I'm here to understand, not judge. That's a rare gift in a world where many feel overlooked or underappreciated. It's not just about better leadership, it's about fostering trust, connection, and respect in the workplace. So what's the takeaway here? It's simple. Great leaders don't just give orders, they listen, learn, and adapt. The reverse power hour isn't about flipping the hierarchy permanently. It's about creating a space where everyone, from the intern to the CEO, is on the same level for just 1 hour. It's a small step that can lead to massive changes in culture, morale, and productivity. Because here's the truth. When leaders understand the reality of the work, everyone wins. So why not give it a shot? It's 1 hour, one conversation, one opportunity to make your workplace better. Trust me, the results will speak for themselves. Number 4, radical role. Rotation. Here's a question to start with. How well do you think you truly understand the challenges your colleagues face? If your answer is anything less than completely, then we've got a gap. And that gap could be the very thing holding your team back. Enter radical role rotation, a game changer for workplace empathy, efficiency, and trust. It's not just a team-building exercise, it's a fresh approach to collaboration that makes everyone on the team better at what they do. Intrigued? Let's dive in. You know those moments when someone from another department sends a request, and your first thought is, why can't they just figure this out on their own? We've all been there. Or maybe you've been on the receiving end, frustrated because people don't seem to get why your job isn't as straightforward as it looks. That tension? It usually boils down to one simple truth. We don't know what it's like to walk in each other's shoes. Radical role. Rotation flips the script, giving everyone a chance to do just that, literally. Here's how it works. Every few months, team members trade responsibilities for a day, or even just a few hours. It's not about turning the graphic designer into the accountant permanently, but giving them a peek into what the accountant actually does all day. And it's not just for the sake of novelty. The purpose is to create a ripple effect of empathy and insight. When you've been on the other side of a deadline or dealt with the challenges someone else faces daily, you approach collaboration with a completely different mindset. You stop assuming, you start understanding. I know what you might be thinking. Won't this lead to chaos? How can someone else handle my job without screwing it up? Valid concerns. But here's the twist. Radical role. Rotation isn't about perfection. It's about perspective. You don't need to master someone else's role to gain valuable insights. Even a glimpse into their workflow, struggles, and decision-making processes can shift how you approach your own work. Plus, it's not a solo endeavor. During the rotation, the host guides the visitor, creating a low-pressure environment where questions, mistakes, and even laughter are all part of the process. Let me share a story. In one company, the customer service team and the sales team were constantly butting heads. Sales felt like customer service was slowing down their deals, while customer service felt overwhelmed by sales, promising the impossible. To address this, the manager implemented radical role rotation. For one day, a few sales reps shadowed the customer service team. They answered calls, handled complaints, and dealt with the nuanced policies they hadn't even realized existed. Meanwhile, the customer service reps sat in on sales calls and saw how tough it was to close deals under pressure. By the end of the day, something amazing happened. Mutual respect. Sales stopped over-promising. Customer service started offering solutions faster, and the team as a whole started working more cohesively. The beauty of radical role rotation isn't just in the knowledge you gain, it's in how it transforms relationships. It shifts the narrative from them versus us to we're in this together. It's about recognizing that every role has its unique challenges and contributions. When you understand what someone else is going through, you're less likely to judge and more likely to collaborate with empathy and patience. And that's not just good for the team, it's good for the soul. This isn't about adding another thing to your already busy schedule. It's about investing in something that pays dividends in trust, communication, and effectiveness. Because here's the truth. When people feel seen, heard, and understood, they perform better. They care more. They show up differently. So, here's your takeaway. Give radical role rotation a shot. Maybe it's just a few hours a month. Maybe it's shadowing someone for an afternoon. Whatever it looks like, the impact is undeniable. You'll build stronger teams, foster deeper connections, and create a workplace where understanding and respect are the norms, not the exceptions. And honestly, isn't that the kind of team we all want to be part of? Number 5. The Conflict Cash-Out Challenge. What if I told you that every argument you've ever had, whether it's with a partner, a co-worker, or even a stranger, could be turned into something that actually benefits you? Sounds crazy, right? But stay with me, because that's the essence of the Conflict Cash-Out Challenge. It's not about avoiding disagreements or pretending they don't happen. It's about reframing them in a way that leaves you stronger, smarter, and yes, maybe even a little richer. Curious? Let's unpack this together. We've all been there. You're in the middle of a heated discussion, and you can feel your emotions taking over. Your heart races, your voice gets louder, and somewhere in the back of your mind, you're thinking, why am I even fighting about this? Maybe it's about something trivial, like whose turn it was to take out the trash, or something bigger, like a disagreement at work. Regardless, conflicts can feel draining, like they're sucking the energy out of you and leaving nothing in return. But what if they didn't have to? What if every conflict was an opportunity to cash out, to walk away with something valuable, knowledge, clarity, even a deeper connection? That's the challenge. Here's how it works. Instead of viewing conflict as a battle to be won, you see it as a transaction. What can you gain from this? Maybe it's insight into someone else's perspective. Maybe it's a chance to set a boundary you've been avoiding. Or maybe it's a wake-up call about something you need to address in your own life. The key is to shift your mindset. Conflict isn't just about the other person being wrong or right. It's about what you can learn, resolve, or even improve because of it. And yes, I know this sounds easier said than done, but trust me, it's a game changer. Let me give you a real-life example. A while back, I got into a pretty intense argument with a coworker over a project deadline. I felt like they were dragging their feet, and they thought I was being unreasonable. It got to the point where neither of us was listening anymore. We were just trying to prove who was right. But then something clicked. I thought, what if I approach this differently? What's the lesson here? So I asked them, what's making this deadline tough for you? That one question shifted everything. I learned about some unexpected challenges they were facing, and they got to hear how their delays were impacting me. We didn't just resolve the argument, we walked away with a better understanding of how to work together. That's what I mean by cashing out. The beauty of the conflict cash-out challenge is that it's not about being passive or avoiding confrontation. It's about engaging with intention. When you see conflict as a chance to gain something, whether it's clarity, respect, or even a lesson in patience, it stops feeling like a waste of energy. Instead, it becomes a tool for growth. And honestly, how often do we get opportunities like that handed to us on a silver platter? This approach isn't just about improving relationships with others. It's also about strengthening your relationship with yourself. Every time you handle a conflict with grace and curiosity, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of staying calm, thinking clearly, and finding solutions. You're building confidence, resilience, and self-respect. And those are things money can't buy. So here's your challenge. The next time you find yourself in a conflict, pause. Ask yourself, what can I gain from this? It might be as simple as learning what not to do next time, or as profound as repairing a relationship. Either way, you're walking away richer in some way. And isn't that the ultimate win? Number 6, the silent strategy session. Have you ever noticed how the loudest person in the room often takes up all the attention, but the quietest one usually knows exactly what's going on? Here's the twist. Being silent is not about fading into the background. It's about mastering the art of observation and timing. That's where the silent strategy session comes in. At first glance, it might seem counterintuitive. You're probably thinking, how can staying quiet be a strategy? Doesn't that make me look passive or uninterested? But trust me, silence can be one of the most powerful tools you have. Let me explain. We've all been in situations where speaking up feels like the only way to be heard. Maybe it's a heated family discussion where everyone's talking over each other, or a work meeting where the louder voices dominate. It's tempting to jump in, to prove your point, to make sure you're not overlooked. But here's the thing, sometimes the more you talk, the less you're actually saying. And let's be honest, how often do those loud exchanges really lead to solutions? What if, instead of fighting to be heard, you took a step back, stayed quiet, and focused on observing? It's not about giving up your voice, it's about choosing the perfect moment to use it. The silent strategy session is simple, but incredibly effective. Instead of rushing to fill the silence, you embrace it. You listen carefully, watch body language, and pick up on the unspoken dynamics in the room. Silence gives you clarity. It allows you to process what's being said and what's not being said. You'd be amazed at how much you can learn when you stop focusing on what you're going to say next and start paying attention to everything around you. It's like hitting the pause button in a chaotic situation, giving yourself a chance to see the bigger picture. Let me share a quick story. A while ago, I was in a meeting where two colleagues were locked in a heated debate. Everyone else was chiming in, trying to mediate, but it felt like the conversation was going in circles. I stayed quiet, not because I didn't have anything to add, but because I wanted to understand what was really driving the argument. After a few minutes, I realized that their disagreement wasn't actually about the project at hand. It was about a deeper misunderstanding they hadn't addressed. When I finally spoke, I asked a single question that reframed the entire discussion. The room went quiet, and you could see the light bulbs going off in everyone's heads. That's the power of silence. It gives you the insight to say the one thing that truly matters. The beauty of the silent strategy session is that it's not just about conflict resolution, it's about building respect. When you listen more than you speak, people notice. They see you as thoughtful, composed, and someone who values understanding over dominance. And let's be real, isn't that the kind of presence we all want to have? Silence isn't about retreating, it's about advancing with precision. This strategy isn't easy at first. The urge to fill the silence can feel overwhelming. But when you resist it, you gain something far more valuable: the ability to think clearly, respond intentionally, and create a meaningful impact. Silence isn't empty, it's full of opportunity. It's your space to strategize, to grow, and to connect on a deeper level. So here's the takeaway. The next time you're in a situation where you feel pressure to speak up, pause. Use that moment to observe, to think, and to strategize. Silence doesn't mean you're disengaged. It means you're playing the long game. And when you finally speak, your words will carry weight. Because in the end, silence isn't the absence of power, it's the source of it. Number 7. Unplugged hourglass huddles. Have you ever felt like time is slipping through your fingers, and no matter how much you try to stay on top of things, the day seems to vanish in a blur of notifications and endless multitasking? Here's the surprising twist. The solution isn't about cramming more into your schedule or downloading the latest productivity app. It's about something much simpler and far more transformative: unplugged hourglass huddles. I know it sounds a bit whimsical, but stay with me here. This idea could change the way you approach your time and connections. We've all had those moments where we're physically present but mentally scattered. Maybe you're in a meeting, nodding along while mentally drafting an email. Or perhaps you're at the dinner table scrolling through your phone, half listening to a conversation. It's not that you don't care, it's that life is constantly pulling you in 10 different directions. And let's be honest, how often do we stop and truly focus on what's right in front of us? The answer is probably not often enough. That's where unplugged hourglass huddles come in. It's a simple practice. You gather with a small group, friends, family, colleagues, and you all commit to setting aside your devices for a dedicated period of time, marked by the gentle flow of an actual hourglass. Yes, an hourglass. There's something grounding about watching the sand fall, a tangible reminder that this moment is fleeting and deserves your full attention. You talk, you listen, you engage, without distractions. It's not just a pause, it's a reset. You might be thinking, really, an hourglass? Isn't that a bit dramatic? But that's the beauty of it. The hourglass becomes a symbol, a centerpiece that says, this is our time and nothing else matters right now. There's a psychology behind it too. When you visually see time slipping away, it creates a sense of urgency to make the most of it. It's like giving yourself permission to fully invest in the present, knowing you're carving out this moment intentionally. I remember the first time I tried this with my family. We'd been caught in the usual routine, everyone on their phones, conversations reduced to quick updates, and that vague sense of disconnection lingering in the air. So, one evening, I brought out an old hourglass and placed it in the center of the table. I said, "For the next 30 minutes, let's put everything else aside. Phones off. Just us." At first there were groans and eye rolls, but as the sand started to fall, something magical happened. We laughed, we shared stories, we truly listened. By the end of it, no one wanted to stop. It was like we'd rediscovered something we didn't even realize we'd lost. The beauty of this practice is that it doesn't require grand gestures or a huge time commitment. It's about creating a space where you can reconnect with others, with yourself, with the present moment. It's about reclaiming those fragments of time that so easily slip away when we're not paying attention. And the best part? It leaves you feeling refreshed, grounded, and more connected than ever. This isn't just about unplugging from devices. It's about plugging back into life. It's about reclaiming your time, your relationships, and your focus. So, the next time you feel like life is spinning out of control, grab an hourglass, gather your people, turn off the noise, watch the sand fall, and let it remind you that sometimes the most powerful moments happen when you simply stop, breathe, and be present. Because in the end, it's not about managing time, it's about savoring it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I truly hope it gave you some valuable insights or even just a fresh perspective on how practical philosophy can transform your workplace experience. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps more people discover content like this. And if you're interested in more ideas to empower your work life and beyond, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Know someone who might benefit from these ideas. Share this video with them. It could spark a meaningful conversation or even inspire change. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your thoughts or share your personal experiences. What's one mindset or principle that's made a difference for you at work? Let's build a space where we can all learn from each other. Remember, a better workplace starts with better thinking, and every small shift you make can lead to big results. Until next time, keep striving, keep reflecting, and keep building a life you're proud of. See you in the next video.